We live in an era of high physical liberty. You can vote, travel across borders, and speak without government interference. Yet social division and personal confinement feel more acute than ever. When we feel restricted, we naturally look for external systems or laws to blame, often overlooking the internal mechanisms that actually hold us in place. This restriction originates in our own minds. It is a structure built out of personal conviction, specific beliefs, and the fear of losing them. True confinement occurs when a person's inner psychological journey meets an obstruction, a point of conviction they are unable or unwilling to move past. Take belief systems, particularly religion. In their original form, they were designed as frameworks to encourage honesty and humility. A psychological mutation occurs when the focus shifts from a search for truth to a need for belonging. Here, belief functions as a provider of emotional security. Once your emotional security is tied to a specific belief, that belief becomes non-negotiable. It stops being a path to follow and hardens into a rigid boundary. When belief hardens into identity, it creates a friction point. This transition from personal conviction to a defensive boundary marks the start of a predictable sequence of conflict. Personal liberty reaches its limit when a belief begins to demand validation from others and treats different perspectives as threats. Conflict progresses predictably. It begins with a single, unexamined internal conviction. I believe this, hardens into absolute certainty. This is true, demanding compliance. The dissent becomes an error to correct. Ultimately, the dissenter is labeled dangerous, providing psychological justification for the use of force. Battlefields are the final stage of a process that begins with unquestioned psychological identity. Each step in the sequence follows the one before it with predictable regularity. Historically, this escalation took decades to play out. Today, the same sequence can complete in days or even minutes. Artificial intelligence functions as a high-velocity feedback loop for human ego, accelerating existing identity traits rather than creating new ones. Algorithms provide precise reinforcement for your existing beliefs, ensuring that emotional reactions spread much faster than reasoned observation. Consequently, reality fragments. We increasingly live within personalized, heavily protected psychological environments that are constantly validated by the network. This fragmentation erodes the sense of mutual responsibility required for a stable society. Without a shared reality, the foundation for peaceful coexistence becomes fragile. We face a specific instability. Our technological capacity has outpaced our psychological maturity. We have high capability but low clarity. The mind operates through two dimensions. System M handles psychological identity, and System C represents conscience. System M is emotionally defensive, dividing reality to protect its identity. System C observes without bias, evaluating facts proportionally to align with truth. Our current social friction is the result of System M dominating our actions, while System C remains underdeveloped, impulsive force, driving actions that serve only to defend a fixed, rigid identity. War persists as a psychological condition that political treaties can only temporarily suppress. No agreement can end a conflict that lives within the individual's compulsion to defend their identity. We have reached a point where the speed of our tools forces a decision between our current psychological habits and a shift toward clarity. We can continue with unquestioned conviction, or we can choose to see our own psychological patterns. True freedom is the ability to see beyond belief and the clarity to move past the boundaries of identity.